Welcome to FCTV's Poetic License, May 2022. My name is Donna Scheer, and tonight's suggested theme is Bloom Where You Are Planted. Thank you, FCTV, for providing quality programming, such as The Conversation, a program about equity and racial justice with a local focus. Exciting news, co-producers of The Conversation, the Reverend Will Mebane and Ajale Scott Price, were recently named co-recipients of the Rika Welch Community Impact Award. FCTV Executive Director and CEO Deborah Rogers and FCTV Production and Education Coordinator Alan Russell were the co-recipients of the award. Congratulations, one and all. We are so proud of The Conversation and all you do. FCTV also hosts Scott McGann, health agent for Falmouth. He keeps us informed about COVID every Friday. This summer, FCTV will again be offering summer animation camps for school-age kids who will be taught stop-action animation techniques. Boy, I wish I was in school again, because I would love to do something like that. Camps will occur during the last 3 weeks of July and the first week of August. More information to be posted on fctv.org in the coming weeks. And there's a new episode of Falmouth in Focus that debuts May 20th, tomorrow, with stories about the Wounded Warrior Soldier Ride that took place last week in Falmouth. There's an interview with the College Light Opera Company about their new facility and their upcoming season, and a story about the newly formed Chase Foundation, which honors the memory of a Falmouth man by funding youth initiatives in underserved communities. All of this and more at fctv.org. And now, performers, the primo portion of the program, your creative shares. When I read your name, unmute your mic. Please repeat your name. Everyone has a 4-minute time slot. Andrew and I will keep track of the time. I'm going to start us off. I'm Donna Scheer. Again, the theme is Bloom Where You Are Planted. But what happens if you've been planted in unsweetened soil? My poem entitled Flights of Fancy gives advice on what can help sweeten your soil. Flight of Fancy. Inside the sucking quicksand of unhappiness. Outside, escape. Next door, an endless empty lot, home of 100 cinematic scenes, battle reenactments where she tends the wounded, cowboys and campfires where she cooks the cast iron beans, pirate ships where she climbs the crow-tested mast of a tree. Sometimes her senses saturate and she can only stand still as a stone, mesmerized by clouds dreaming overhead, an earnest bird in the apple tree asking for answers, the delicate skeleton of a snake. The beauty of the world nearly tips her over, till imagination takes root and she leans towards the sun. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to see Patricia Austin, who is up first tonight. Hi, Patricia. How are you doing?
Hi. So unusual to be first, and I hope that's going to be okay. I love the theme, bloom where you're planted. And I think maybe that's an interesting question for the last couple of weeks we have just been through. So I'm titled this poem, Bloom Where You're Planted. Bloom where you're planted. But where is that? We all have a point of entry into this odd continuum of perpetual change, into this amazing confluence of electromagnetic forces, zapping sparks into the deceptive calm of an alluring spring day, like invisible electric wires untethered. This world that seems to be a slow motion pain factory, perhaps designed to teach the aspiring soul a mechanism by which it can cope with all that is above, below, to the right, to the left, and all points in between. In human terms, our point of entry drops us into a spot, a place in time and space. Hopefully, preparation has been made for our arrival. The heritage keepers, the instinctive caregivers, the extended family and friends, the neighborhood, the community, the leaders, the teachers, the social institutions, the survival mechanisms, the food sources, the safe havens, the peaceful respites. Or not. Perhaps we drop into a place with no buffers from the fear. Perhaps the good wishes of anyone who would care for us are tied up in survival. Perhaps the tribal instinct still intact in the human neural system tells us, compels us to stake our claim and kill the enemy. Unable to hear the voices calling in the wilderness or see the signs of truth and love and unity. The signs of our capacity to become an ever-advancing civilization. Because the small yet powerful grip of our fear, still innate in the human beings, usurps and galvanizes the need and pretentious illusions of power. Accepts supplies of shiny adult toys, proffering easy means of self-defense, toys that scream safety and solution to perceived threats of destruction, of extinction, of existential impotence. From the demarked day of our point of entry, we learn. We learn contribution toward continuing advancement as a civilization. We learn to see life inevitably leading to a moment of shuddering choice, breaking the lines, killing possibilities. So often the reminder is in the form of a child, a white male barely of any age, or any connection to the whole of humanity, or the greater scale of civilization. How easily we say pure evil. How can this young boy be like that? Conveniently, we forget. We have hidden all the mirrors. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Oh my gosh. It started off so placid, so full of beauty, and then came all the big contradictions and contrasts. You always ask the big questions, and I thank you for that. It's so important to do that.
Well, we're certainly at a place where we've experienced the bliss of a new spring and everything that's beautiful in the midst of our confusion about who we are and who we are not, what we should do. And, you know, I had a little epilogue to that. Can I just say that? It's very short.
Mhm.
If any life is less than life, then there is no life. If any one is less than all, then there is no one. If God is less by any name, then there is no God.
Thank you. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you, Donna.
All right. So, from South Dakota comes our friend Rosemary Muller.
I'm unmuted.
Yes, you are.
Hi. Good to see you all. I'm Rosemary Dunn-Moeller, and the theme that I had tonight that I have seen on numerous greeting cards has always annoyed the hell out of me. Because sometimes I feel like pick yourself up and get yourself where you need to be. And that too, I always thought was important. I have lived, worked, or traveled all 7 continents, and I love that very, very much. But in order to stay somewhat sane when I get to a new place, I find it is the moon where I am planted. The moon is consistent. Once I find the moon in the sky, I know where I am. And so that really is more, I feel like I am moon planted. And that is why I chose this poem, which is called When It's High Tide in My Cells, My Imagination Broils. At the arc of the moon, a meteor ran past, playing Catch Me If You Can with our gravity, was caught, destroyed, mostly unnoticed, because of a gift from the fabric of space that keeps us falling in predictable patterns. Speeding through our cushion of gas, its rush to reach us reciprocated by our mass, immolated itself by friction. Other nights, I watch the moon. Its gravity pulls on me, a barely perceptible wiggle to my routines, as I rotate daily away then towards one revolutionary change a month, no more. So common, it's hard to be amazed how I would miss it if it were gone. Never having missed it, I have no proof. But that gentle tug on my liquids is enough to keep me marveling at its weakest of forces. I should know when the moon's high overhead. A night without the moon is a buffet instead of a sit-down dinner. Lots of little things to look at, drool over, millions of stars unseen in bright moonlight. They're tiny photons traveling from the kitchen of gas clouds to my eyes to be savored by their flickerings. Then I can see meteors from our crossing comet tails annually, sharing their brief flash of lightness. And then, thank you very, very much. And also, again, it follows the theme in my mind, maybe no one else, but anyway. So, of course, I have a sonnet about it. And it's called A Little Time to Write, because that is the other place where I am planted, which is in writing. Maybe not too much in one place on earth, but definitely in writing. And this is called A Little Time to Write. When all my well-kept schedules fall apart for 13 weeks of summer break from school, and I can't finish projects that I started because I'm called away by every foolish question that comes up around the farm, or what's for dinner? Why is there no more milk? And can't you run to town for shells because varmints got into the pheasant barn? Goats are in the corn again, so supper will be late. Or 9. These are my free days that I once looked ahead to futilely. I only dust the piano, never play. Then serendipity, a break, arrives. With poems like this, I'll do more than survive. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Planted by the moon and planted by writing. I like that. I have to tell you, my son is a landscaper, and he's brilliant about uprooting plantings and moving them to the very best spot. So, I mean, I feel like I've been uprooted a lot of times, and that each new soil planting is different opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
And Sue Beth Carlson.
Hello.
Hello, my friend.
So none of these are new, and 2 of them aren't mine, but they are my word bouquet to share. I want to tell you about the story of the hummingbird and the forest fire. I can't remember if I just did it last month or not, but there was this forest fire, and all the animals ran out of the forest and were standing at the edge of the forest watching the forest fire, feeling so helpless to do anything as they watched the forest burn. There was a big elephant with a huge trunk, and lions and tigers and bears and all kinds of big animals. And this little hummingbird went to the river, got a drop of water, went over to the forest, dropped it on the forest fire, went back to the river, and was going back and forth as fast as it could. And the animals said, "What are you doing? You're so small and the fire is so big." And he stopped just long enough to say, "I'm doing what I can." So I think he was blooming where he was planted. Then there's the story of the child and the starfish after the storm. There was a huge storm and all the starfish washed up on the beach. For miles and miles, there were starfish strewn far away from the water, starting to dry out and die. And this little child came up and started flinging them back into the water. And the adult came up and said, "What are you doing? You know, it's not going to make any difference. Look, there's miles of this." And the child just looked up and said, "It makes a difference to him and her and this one and that one," and kept going. So again, blooming where you're planted. And this is something that I read at the labyrinth walks that I've been doing. Sunflowers have been used in Chernobyl, Ukraine, to transform radioactive soil into nourishment for growth. And in the midst of their beloved country being brutally attacked without provocation, the Ukrainian president and the people of Ukraine are demonstrating leadership, courage, passion, and compassion. They are as sunflowers, blossoming as they respond to the toxic circumstances of the soil, transforming and inspiring us all. Sunflowers don't need the sun to always shine. They shine their brilliant yellow blossoms on the cloudiest of days as if to say, "Look, everyone, we see the storm clouds, but we can be the sun." And as heroes of our own lives on this earth, may we walk back out into the world and continue to hold our blossoms to the light. I just have one more This is called Kind. It takes the full spectrum, reaching out in ripples of light to create the beauty of a rainbow. It takes all kinds. It takes a bold person to create a needed change. It takes a compassionate one to help us through it. It takes an intelligent and deep-thinking person to see the complexities, the shades of gray that need to be considered. It takes a black and white thinker to simplify choices that must be made quickly. It takes a poet to find the words, a singer to sing them, a musician to play the music, and a dancer to dance to it. It takes a mature person to have perspective and a young person to see a new and different way. Yet we can all choose to explore any one of these, regardless of what kind of person we are. And when one born with the greatest talent does these things, it is every bit as significant as when it is the one with the greatest yearning. Be kind to others as they explore interests that diverge from their greatest talents. Still, when we do have an interest, a strength, the talent for something, there's great value in pouring our energy into this one wondrous gift with ease and joy, and blooming where we're planted. We do not need to struggle to do those other things. Be also kind to yourself. It sometimes takes someone who cannot carry a tune to carry the sheet music while humming joyously in anticipation of the concert, and the songwriter, and the orchestra, and the one who sings, and someone to feel the urge to dance. It takes all kinds. Be that kind.
So beautiful. Stu, I've been to one of your labyrinth walks, and you are a kind person, kind and generous for doing that. If anybody here or on the viewing platform, if you hear about labyrinth walks, it's beautiful, it's meaningful, it's spiritual, it's kind. So I give you a shout out for that, my dear.
You're reminding me of all the events that I have going on that I'm doing. And the 28th of May, if I may just announce about it, there's a young Ukrainian couple that has started a new Montessori preschool. It's called Bayside Montessori in Centerville. And they are having a Ukrainian cultural festival on the 28th from 10. I'm going to have the labyrinth there. That's what made me think of it. It's going to be mostly what I'm doing with the labyrinth this time will be for kids. I just want to make sure I'm giving you the right time. 10 to 12, Bayside Montessori in Centerville on the 28th of May, Saturday the 28th. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that information. Whew. Well, Lisa Cantor, my eyes are happy to see you tonight.
Thank you, Donna. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see everyone and hear everyone. I'm Lisa Cantor. Bloom exactly where you are. Musings for a mindless malcontent on her birthday. Oh, come now. Such wasteful human hubris to spend endless thought tying and untying the self-proclaimed knot about how it could all have been different. What a shameful luxury. To take the remarkable, glistening gift of time and respond with what is missing. Wouldn't it be more sensible to simply bloom where you are? Exactly where you are. Where else is there really? The seed does not refuse the soil it falls on, insisting on relocation. Find yourself in arid soil on arid land? Make like a cactus. Parse out each bit of moisture wherever you find it, and then once a year, or daily if you dare, produce the most exquisite flower. Come, come, right here. Simply bloom exactly where you are, humbly from the center of your own life. It's okay. After all, regrets are thieves. Don't trust them. They're up to no good. They thrive on stealing your life. Don't let them. Consider instead that all along, you've just been trying to reach the sun's nutrients, to survive, to live, to bud. Look at the clues. With each twist and turn of your branches, no matter how contorted they may appear, you've just been sending tendrils, looking for that ephemeral possibility, for love, perhaps, for safety, for someone to know and show you your value, for someone to tend to your wounds. On a recent winter vacation that I could complain about, but I won't, the unbidden storm clouds took bold shapes, then morphed and folded into one another, adrift. The clouds do not demand the wind shift so that their shapes become more pleasing. No, they seemed to me at ease in their insubstantial incarnations. The hilarity of my lurking thoughts, reworking my choices, my loves, my losses. These foolish, fruitless efforts undeniably revealed. Preoccupied, I mindlessly try to reshape the contours, past and present, of my life. Adjust the pace and color of this day. Direct the action as if in some movie or play. Looking to change something down there? The clouds seem to say, sure, give it a try. And they threw me a rope. Bloom exactly where you are. Where else is there? Really. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Lisa. My favorite line, make like a cactus. I have a soft spot in my heart for succulents, the cacti. And also the line, regrets are thieves. So beautifully said, beautifully, beautifully said. Been missing you and glad you're here. Okay, let's see. Jerry Reed. Well, I hear, I know a musical interlude is coming up.
Hey, Donna, good to see you. So I'm Jerry Reed, and this is a musical take on the theme of Bloom Where You Are. And I've mentioned this before, but I'm writing an album about therapy and the process of doing therapy as a psychologist. And this is one of the songs that I put together, and I'm going to share it with you now, kind of about, kind of going through life and expectations cannot be met and disappointments happen inevitably, and kind of what do you do about that? So I have one song, and if there's time, I'll try to do one other song as well.
Maybe the pieces of me are held together by these lessons I've been learning all the while. Slowly, the tide was turning. Now I see all that's been unseen, like the needs beneath the suffering and the words behind the hurts. We wanna be saying all the joy that's been hiding. I keep building, 'cause life don't always turn out the way we think it should be. Some turn around around some holdout, but that just ain't me. No, I keep building this life I'm living. Say what you mean, but don't say much more, 'cause a little breeze can turn into a storm and it all be lost. But even if that's the course, I keep building, 'cause life don't always turn out the way we think it should be. Some turn around, some hold out, but that just ain't me. No, I keep building this life I'm living. I keep building, 'cause life don't always turn out the way we think it should be. Some turn around, some hold out, but that just ain't me. No, I keep building this life I'm living.
Yay. Thank you. That was wonderful. Yes, life don't always turn out the way we're hoping, but if you keep going, it's gonna be all right. I love that, Jerry.
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you. All right, John Jackson. There he is.
Here I am. Context. My friend Joe posted the following on Facebook last week. Quote, "It is difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there." William Carlos Williams. My response, Joe, you should never confuse reading poetry with reading the news. It's more editorial, for the process authorial of necessity imparts poets' views. My name is John Jackson. My gig is limericksofprotest.com. I write news poems. Okay. As William Carlos Williams says, it's difficult to get the news from poems. Conservative politics rewards waving Bibles as if they were swords. All politics is local. Beware of the vocal candidates for your school boards. Whether leaked or deliberately shared, doesn't matter. The draft has been aired. Highest court in the land has just tipped their hand. Shame on us if we are unprepared. Brief burst of creativity. I call it 3 in a row, ROE. All agree that there isn't a dearth of humanity on the face of the earth. Is that why the morality of infant mortality disappears at the moment of birth? Keep your pants on, please. Take it slow. I'm not exactly saying no, but before you start humping, you gotta do something. 15 years child support in escrow. Some kind of bad mass hypnosis. Folks believe amateur diagnosis. Taking her last of rites given to blastocytes since humanity begins at mitosis. Buffalo Soldier. The manifesto gave us a taste, fear of white privilege laid to waste. So he brought his war to a grocery store. 10 black lives will not be replaced. Now, a bit of a change of pace. Last Sunday, I had a full-blown conversation with 2 gentlemen in Limerick on Facebook. I posted in a group called Occasional Poems. Control-C, Control-X, Control-V, well used by people like me. Control-Alt-Delete too, but we cannot undo the debt owed to Control-Z. Responses. Danny Lethem wrote, although we have a Z in UK, I hear you. To which I said, you live in UK, as you said, and your letters go from A to Z. Favorite colors you use, the right number of U's, but don't let it go to your head. Miles Walsh replies, what is it with you guys in the States? American English it's called, but frankly, I am appalled. I'm confused and at sea with your vocabulary and your spelling I cannot applaud. To which I responded, it's a code, no Brit ever expects it. Our language is brief because we text it. If Queen's English we lack, you can't have it back. Wish you could, but you can't because of Brexit. Danny Lethem writes, myself, I'm not one to deter the vowelling that you prefer, but wasn't it great to assimilate and substitute for my Miles Walsh, your missed letter U's are a mystery. You have letter Z, but you call it Z. I'm afraid your excuses regarding your usage makes little impression on me. To which I write, my accent from my father the priest, Oklahoma and New England's Northeast. You gents could be lost in my old home of Boston where the R isn't heard in the least. Danny Lethem writes, I think that I ought to confess that I struggle to use SMS. Preferring verbose to mere bellicose must make me old-fashioned, I guess. To which I respond, I agree that us old farts are vexed by SMS, or the young'uns say text. Our frustration comes from small screens and fat thumbs and words choices forced autocorrects. Danny Lethem writes, now R is a whole nother matter, and one that affects my own chatter. A Scot I was born, you might struggle forlorn to decipher my strong Glasgow patter. To which I say, conversation in verse makes me frisky, but arguing spelling is risky. Knowing you're a Scot tells me I'm not crossing a man who drinks whiskey beith, which is Gaelic for water of life, which is where we get the term whiskey. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I don't know a single other person who would text back and forth in limericks. That is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I think, autocorrect, that's somewhere there are a lot of limerick possibilities in that.
There are, and my wife and I actually call it autocrat because that's what it called itself once.
Thank you. I love laughing, so thank you for that, sir. Okay, let's see. Lynn Feedy. Hello, my dear. You've been a busy woman.
I have been. I just have to say, John, that was great. Autocorrect, gotta love it. My son reminds me of the time we were late to meet him and his girlfriend for dinner. This is a few years ago, and I tried to text. My husband was driving. We're just crossing the BU Bridge, and it came out, "We be cruising," which has now become a family expression. I'm Lynn Vitti, and my poem is one that I wrote a couple of weeks ago while visiting an organic apple orchard, Old Frog Pond Farm out in Harvard, Massachusetts. And it's called Eruptions in the Orchard. Apple trees in a listing chorus line play dead, leaning, yearning for something, sun, water, or maybe they're just plain stubborn, refusing to stand up straight, like adolescents asserting their autonomy. Out in the orchard proper, Asian pear trees push lime green buds from dry brown envelopes, predicting what a fruit tree can do, all that it might become. They're model citizens of the orchard, promising perfect yellow fruit globes, crisp flesh, sweet tart to the tongue. In the midst of the pear orchard, a single slender nectarine tree stands out, its tight buds still unfurled, straining to catch the April sun. At summer's end, how many smooth-skinned fruits, yellow flecked with red, will this tree yield? Enough to top 100 bowls of cereal, or to fill 10 baskets at the market table, enough for 50 tarts, juicy nectarines arranged in concentric circles on a bed of custard and sweet pastry. For the trees, there is no looking back. Spring's necessary violence pushes bud to blossom, blasts blossoms into blossom ends. In the miracle of the orchard, slowly roused from its winter sleep.
Thank you, Lynn. That was just beautiful.
Thank you.
Makes me want to visit orchards right now to see what they look like. And then again, maybe in the fall to go picking sometime. But thank you for that beautiful, beautiful poem. Oh, Jackson Gilman.
I am Jackson Gilman from On Set, and I'm doing one song that I wrote, which will take the full 4 minutes. It usually has a lot of interaction with the audience, making sound effects, and that's kind of dangerous on Zoom, but you could simulate the sound effects with by pretending you're a buzzing bee going bzzz. Yeah, so that when that comes along, and then later there's going to be a really hot, it's going to be really sizzly. You could do that, and then also there's going to be some unhappy goats. You go mah, mah. And then you're going to soak up some rays and just go ooh. At the end, you're going to just like cheer like crazy. So even though you might be muted, please give voice to this and definitely body. That's a move along. All right, here we go. This. The winter was long and the days were short. Can't wait for summer so we can cavort in the lush green haven of our garden plot. Don't you know it's our favorite spot to drink in the summer, commune with the plants, party like grasshoppers, working like ants. Late in the day, it's not time to make hay. Let's get ready to play. Let's have a ride in the garden, cut the dirt. We'll shake and shimmy, frolic and flirt, make eyes at the taters and tease the peas. Everyone's invited, especially the bees. The bee bombs be bopping, the poppies flip-flopping. There's a buzz in the bowers, there's no wallflowers. And the snapdragon snapping, a snappy dance beat. The garden is hopping though the plants have no feet. Zucchinis do a step, they call the gadzooks. Black-eyed Susans give them real funny looks. Delphiniums fiddle, foxgloves trot. Even cool cukes start to get hot. Let's have a ride in the garden, shake a root. Get down and dirty and have a hoot. Kiss the corn behind the ears and sow some oats. Everyone's invited except the goats. Morning glories stay open late while the moonflowers blossom round the old garden gate. The sunflowers take a shine to the gourds. It's the place to be if you want to be cured. No plant wears a frown when there's a hoedown. Every stem's a swaying while the trumpet fine's playing. They've all got the crazies. Worms are pushing up daisies. Petals are falling while the dance callers calling. Now, everybody, get ready to do the sprout. You have to curl up, pretend you're a seed, and you can move along with me now. Let's germinate, get ready, get set. Now toss to swell when you get all wet. Shoot down your root, it's time to get down. Wriggle your radical into the ground. Now start reaching the other way. It's time you saw the light of day. Keep on twisting till you break on through. When you feel the sun's warmth, give a great big ooh, ooh. Now follow the sun from east to west. Photosynthesis is the best. Stretch your branches out real wide. Shake leaves with your neighbors on each side. Sway to the left, now sway to the right. There's room for everyone, so let's not fight. When the rain starts falling, bow down your head, wriggle down your roots in your garden bed, and rest. Till the sun shines again with all of its might. Stretch up high and reach for the light. Now twist again, work it on out. Stretch once more with a great big shout. Yeah! You've done the sprout.
Yeah, Jackson, that was fabulous. It's always good, the 9-inning stretch, you know? You got us moving. That's awesome. Thank you. And all those flower-related bits was wonderful. Thank you so, so much.
My pleasure.
We never know what's going to happen, do we? Clarice Brooks, my dear, so good to see you.
It's wonderful to see you. I love coming here. It's good to be back. Yes. And I love the theme, Bloom Where You Are, because we have to make ourselves bloom, don't we? And that was a wonderful, fun song, Jackson. I had fun reading it. I'm just going to be doing one poem tonight. It's going to take up the whole 4 minutes. It is from my book, Excuse Me While I Live My Life. It is called Begin With Me, and it carries with the theme this evening of you have to bloom where you are. Begin with me. There was no particular reason, no special holiday or season. I just awoke, and as I lay, I heard my gentle spirit say, please, no routines today. For once, just go a different way. Please, just give us this one day. Now, I'd heard that voice several times before, but I had always chosen to ignore. Responsibilities overruled, too many things to always do, too many people to answer to. If I wasn't there, what would they do? But today, for some reason, I don't even know why, I heard my spirit and I finally obliged. So I called in with a feeling of dread. Okay, goodbye, is all they said. So I responded, okay, and I went ahead. No real plans, just headed out. I walked around and ventured about. A cup of coffee with a fancy name. A long walk down that pretty lane. Bought a scarf I didn't need. It was green and nice indeed. I tossed it on and moved along, then started humming some old song. I didn't even know the name, just popped itself into my brain. And I must have hummed for quite a while, because people looked at me and smiled. Now, usually I am quite shy, but today I smiled back and then waved hi. I walked along my little stroll, loosening typical self-control. I embraced all that I saw in this world, like I hadn't done since I was a girl. Yes, I took it in and absorbed it all. And by the time that dark began to fall, I knew that something had to give if I was truly going to live and love and laugh and lift my heart. And today would finally be the start. Then I stopped for a moment and I thought, when did we become so overwrought? Who said to have success that we should make stressful ways our greater good? Am I keeping up? Am I doing okay? Why do we live by what others say? Because it's a race until we die. So shut up, don't think, do not ask why. We've responsibilities. Okay, yes. We have our jobs and days of stress and things and stuff to all sort out that pressure us so and leave us in doubt. We've got to do them, yes, I see. But today it became quite clear to me. You see, my spirit, she made me listen today to what for so long she'd been trying to say. But sometimes my head is too darn hard, and I find it difficult to lower my guard. I just couldn't be super she for this 24. I needed something just a little bit more. I needed time. I needed air. I needed to just be here with no clocking in and no deadlines. I needed to simply clear my mind. And she said, take care of what you have to, dear. But when I speak, please stop and hear. When I'm telling you to take a break, just listen, please, for goodness sake. Yes, live responsibly and keep your word. Don't let your duties go deferred. Just make it a point to let in the joy, because you are worthy. You are royal. You're not in this world to only pass a test, to be filled with worries or consumed in stress. And darling, never forget that you are truly so very blessed. And remember, you have the power to be the face of peace that others see. And so I heard, and I cherished each word. And by nightfall, I had embraced it all. And tomorrow, I will step back into my role, but I think I will do it with a bit more soul. I'll take a break and maybe even a walk. I'll stop by someone's desk to talk. I'll remember to smile just a wee bit more, because life needn't be such an awful bore. I can crack my day open and make it more bright and be that someone who adds a little more light to the gloomy, moody, draggy day, because it doesn't need to be that way. Amongst all of the noise and the deadlines and the chatter, I can remind those I am with that they matter. We're not just a bunch who gather for 8 hours to simply perform duties and to be devoured by rules and demands by those who hold power. And I say, thank you, my spirit, for making me see that the goodness you gave is not only for me. If I take care of me, I can appreciate others and be kinder and gentler to my sisters and brothers. Spirit, now I can say that I see your plan. I get it now. I understand. If I want more joy to be felt and heard and seen, I must always first begin with me. Thank you.
Oh, Clarice, so lovely. Perfect title and perfect way to end it with the same line. The big question, why make stressful ways our greater good? And then becoming like a little child again in reaching out to other people.
Yes.
Just love that poem. I love it. I
Thank you.
love it. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe we're almost done. I've got a poem to close the evening. This is from my collection of music-themed poetry, and it's called Opus for a Summer Child. The overture plays sweetly in my memory. Allegro clouds sigh to the windy Wisconsin sky. In the land of sky blue waters, a Philco radio bleats about baseball. Crescendoing like thunder, Grandpa's snores roar from the back bedroom. Every hour, an a cappella cuckoo clock clears its rusty throat. Prelude to the awakening of boats, the lake gently laps the shore. Norman Rockwell rustles and snaps pages of a Saturday Evening Post in my lap. Adagio, slow scratching of pink calamine lotion atop mosquito bites. Vivace whir of lawnmower as Daddy Buzz cuts the green. And after dinner, we sit in harmony around the kitchen table, crooning the old tunes made new for our young ears. Forte chorus of crickets, fireflies signal a flickering ditty, and stars slow dance to the final song of the night. That's where I was planted in this every summer. Oh, thank you. This edited performance will be shown on FCTV's Channel 13, as well as the YouTube channel. Friends who are watching, if you'd like to be a performer, please reach out to us. Our next Poetic license will be the fourth Thursday in June, June 23rd. The theme for June will be Schools Out for the Summer. Thank you again, Andrew Richards. Andrew Richards, would you please show your face?
If I have to.
Yes, you must. Yes, you must. Andrew Richards. Speaking of Andrew Richards, tonight we have to say goodbye as he retires from FCTV. Andrew, your friends on Poetic License tonight would like to express their gratitude to you with a round robin of creative thoughts. I'll start it off and then I will call you by name in the order that I see you on screen, okay? So Andrew, this is the surprise. To the captain of our virtual ship, my silver-haired brother, I have never felt alone on this boat bounding over the waves of audio-visual airtime. You were always center stage, backstage, never seeking the limelight, ready to welcome us aboard, encourage us, edit our false steps, our floundering, and our flubs. Dear friend, You helped us shine online. SOS. SOS. Sending oceans of smooth sailing and wishing you great happiness. Thank you, Andrew, for all you do.
Thank you, Donna.
Lisa, everybody can unmute now if you'd like.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Lisa.
Andrew Richards, I'm told you've decided to go. And my answer to that is quite frankly, a no. I've liked having you here behind Poetic scenes. You've been welcoming, kind, and quite skilled too, it seems. I suppose I should grow up and know that things pass. There are roads to be traveled, and things do not last. There are needs to be sated. Most I can't guess or know. That's the way life unfolds. Now it's summer, and so sands will shift, morph, evolve. I won't stand in the way. I'll just wish you well on your adventures and hope to see you again one day.
Thank you, Lisa, very much.
Sue Beth?
Who did you say?
Sue Beth Carlson?
Oh. Well, Andrew, you have helped us all bloom in the midst of a pandemic of troubles. And I am wishing you, as I've said to you already, wishing you wonderful things wherever you are transplanted and that you continue to bloom where you are. Thanks for everything.
Thank you, Susan.
Jerry?
Andrew, I'm so glad that I found you and emailed you that day. It really made a big difference for my past couple months. This is short and sweet. I'm glad to say that I knew a wonderful man named Andrew. The man with two first names made us all feel like we had some fame.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
John Jackson?
Okay, I don't mean to. John Jackson is definitely the king of limericks, but here's my humble offering for our pal here behind the scenes. There was a tech host named Andrew, and we'd like to give him his due. We're heard and we're seen thanks to this human being. We bid you a fond adieu.
Thank you very much, Jackson.
Thank you.
Sorry. Patricia Austin?
Well, I didn't really know we were doing this formally. I'm sorry about that because there's so much I would love to say to you, Andrew. Andrew, I just think you are a wonderful addition to FCTV, and just you are wonderful for artists in general to see us and give us a chance to speak. I've loved you being the leader of all this. So I'm obviously doing this off the top of my head, but I don't know where you're going, and I hope it's going to be wonderful. And I hope we all get to cross your path again. Thank you very much for everything you've shared and shown us.
Thank you, Patricia, very much.
Clarice?
Well, this is very short, Andrew. I appreciate how kind you were to me when I sent you that very first email asking if I could be a part of this. And you just welcomed me in so much, in such kindness and thoughtfulness. You didn't have to take the time to do that. You could have just simply said, yeah, here's the information, but you didn't. And so I just keep this very short. You welcomed me first in a kind and gentle way. Your kindness and thoughtfulness has made me want to stay. All I can say is I wish you the best as you continue upon your way. So thank you so much for everything and for the kindness that you gave me and to all of us. Best wishes.
Thank you, Clarice, very much.
Lynn Feedy?
Andrew, You taught me several things that have been very important to me during COVID, as I do many readings and have taught many classes. You taught me to control my paper, which I forgot to do tonight. You taught me to get a proper fancy light for behind my laptop so that I didn't look like I was in the dark, and you taught me not to backlight myself. You also always found a place for me in the lineup that fit my crazy schedule, and I really, really appreciate that. So I wish you all the best and happy trails and many good adventures and fun with your family and especially the dogs.
Thank you, Lynn, very much.
You're welcome.
John Jackson, did I miss you?
You didn't miss me, you saved me.
Okay.
In the year of our plague 2021, I was buying some treats from our local French bakery. You know it's French because the line takes the shape of an escargot inside. I hear someone behind me saying, "John?" It was Andrew Richards. Of course, he couldn't see all of my face, but he thought it might be me from the hair. But when he heard me speak to the cashier, that's what I want in a producer, someone who knows the voices. The producer of this virtual room, Andrew Richards, is leaving us soon. I've no way of knowing just where you are going, but where you were planted, you'll bloom.
Oh,
That's really nice, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Anthony Sedera, could you show yourself, please? Could you join us? Everybody, let's welcome Tony, because Tony will be our new friend behind the scenes for Poetic License. We're awfully glad that
This is for Andrew. This is for Andrew.
You know, Donna,
will go on. But Andrew,
We are having a get together tomorrow at 4:30. So if you want to swing by, it's outdoors, outside. Hopefully it won't rain too much. Sorry, Andrew. And join us at FCTV 310 Dillingham. It's at 4:30 for, some light refreshments. So we're having a little send off. So that would be nice if you're in the area.
thank you, Tony.
thanks, Tony. You know, Donna,
I'll be at Fenway.
Well, as a Yankee
Already
fan, I'll
apologized
forgive
for
you for that. I want to say that you really touched me, Donna. I'll forgive you for acknowledging my silver hair. I'll have to take care of that.
We're in good company.
Really?
It's sort of interesting because I think I met some of you the first day we ever did this in the studio. I met Donna, I met Susan, I met John. I think those are the only three of you who were maybe here the first night.
I missed the first one.
You missed the first one. You were the second time then.
Yep.
But yeah. And it's sort of interesting because I only know you, from the two-dimensional, view of this. I since all that, I met Donna once in person, and when she came in to do something. And it's interesting because I know you because of what you look like on TV, where your rooms are. Lynn may be in Wellfleet, I think, right? Or Boston, or wherever she lives, and the snowplow is coming and she has to go outside. And, Jackson's got the background, and Susan's got, she's always got the candles. I mean, I just sort of, recognize the thing. John maybe is over the bridge or not over the bridge. Or I saw him in the French bakery. But it's really been an interesting thing for me because I'm not a poet. But when I was asked to do this, I was, I have to say I wasn't enthusiastic about it because I didn't think there was a place for this. But it has grown tremendously. And I think on Zoom, it's even more interesting because we've gotten people involved who wouldn't necessarily come here. Clarice, I forget where you live, but I think maybe, is it Providence or New Bedford, or you're off Cape, right?
in Cranston, Rhode Island.
Okay, Rhode Island, right. And there's people we've had people, I mean, obviously Rosemary is not here right now, South Dakota, and we've had people join from the Carolinas, people who've heard about this. So it's really an interesting thing. And some people who maybe because of COVID might not want to come here right now. But I thank you all. And I'm glad this is going to continue. And who knows, maybe I'll be involved somehow. Maybe I'll write something and join you. I don't know. I doubt it, but but I really, if you know, like I saw John that day, if you ever see me and you recognize me, please say hello. I'll try to do the same because I feel like I know you all. So thank you very much. Donna, thank you for carrying on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew. Bon voyage. Until we meet again, peace and shine on, everybody.